What's up, Space Cadets? Lanchen here, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm shooting on a brand new camera that I just got. I'm testing it out. I hope that it looks good, but I guess we'll see when I review this footage back. But that means that I'm going to be posting videos normally like I was before, prior to not having a camera to shoot on. Alright, so for today's video, I'm actually going to be comparing paint brands. Yeah, paint brands. This is something I've really been wanting to do because people ask me about it all the time, and I try to explain specific brands give you different results, and it's just easier for me to show you. So I finally put together a video showing you a little bit of demonstration so you can really see the comparison before you just go out and buy a bunch of paints and then you have to figure it out on your own. And I tried to compare them in the same or similar color so that way you really get a feel for how they look in comparison to each other. I tested them out on this canvas right here. So let me show you the paints I'm using. So the paints, I just dropped it. Okay, so for the first two paints that I'm going to be comparing, a yellow Liquitex Heavy Body Acrylic and an Artist Loft Deep Yellow. The first one I'm painting on is the Liquitex Heavy Body in yellow, and this gave me complete full coverage. It didn't leave any streaks, which I love, and I didn't feel the need to go over it twice because it just looks so flawless like this. I used the tiniest amount as well. Now I'm using the Artist Loft Yellow, and I was actually surprised. It was pretty vibrant, but I did see some slight streaks going through it, but it wasn't bad. I'm not sure how it would look just going directly on black, but on the white canvas, looks pretty decent. When they dried, I'd say that they both had a similar amount of shininess to them that made it look like a nice little gloss finish. Maybe the Artist Loft was a tad bit less, but it was very close. Next, I'm going to be doing a Basics Mars Black, Ivory Black, a Carbon Black by Golden Acrylics. This is also a heavy body. So the Basics paint looks like it's going on dark, but as you start to blend out, you see streaks underneath, and it's very translucent. That means you'll have to be doing multiple layers to get full coverage. Now for the heavy body, I'm using the slightest bit of paint because a little goes a long way. It spreads so easily, so nicely, and you still get full coverage. And you could even add water and it would be just as pigmented as you are seeing here, which is so great because of the price. You know, I don't want it to go to waste by doing layer after layer because it's not dark. That's kind of the issue you will have with Basics. You will have to keep layering, which will cost you more money in return and more time wasted. Keep that in mind. And the heavy body also has a nice little shine to it too. And then I'm going to be comparing my pinks. These pinks are very similar in color, that's why I chose them, but they're all three different brands, and they all gave me completely different results. Craft Smart Bright Pink, Satin Acrylic Paint, a Jen Crafts Fuchsia, and then I have my Basics Medium Magenta. The first one I'm testing out is the Craft Smart Paint. This is 79 cents. It's super cheap, yes, but you're going to have to use a lot of it because it requires multiple layers to actually get the color that you see in the bottle. It's not very concentrated. You see streaks, it's very thin, and it's very, very watery. Now it's time for the Basics, and this medium magenta in Basics is actually really opaque. Some of their colors are a tad more translucent, but this is not one of them. I would probably only need one more layer and I would be good to go. Next is the Jen Crafts. I couldn't find it in individual tubes online because I got it in a kit on Amazon, but I still wanted to show you here just in comparison to the others because this paint actually is a little more thicker than the Craft Smart, but as you can tell, the pigment is not nearly as strong. It's very translucent. You can see streaks. It's just not the best. And I went ahead and did another layer over this just to see if I could get the color that's on the tube, and it did not work. Just kept lifting off the canvas. I'm also going to do another layer over the Craft Smart paint as well, just to see how it turns out. And it looked okay, and then it started lifting off the canvas, which is not good. A lot of people have this issue, and it's just because of the paint you're using, guys. It's just not the best. Alright, now I'm going to go over the Craft Smart paint again, and I wanted to show you how watery this looks. it's very watery paint. Like if you shake it in the bottle, you'll hear it as if it's water. So I put on a very thick layer to try and get that color, and it's not too bad, but you still see the streaks, and I mean, you shouldn't do that. You should do thinner layers and let it dry, but I was just trying to get the color out. It still doesn't look the best, but it's honestly not too bad compared to the Gen Crafts, and I tried to layer that up as well. I waited the same amount of time for all of them to dry before applying a next layer, and look how, I mean, it's not great. It's not great. It just keeps lifting off the canvas. And it ends up looking exactly how it did to start, which is so crazy. This is the perfect example of why I stress to artists to invest in yourself and get good materials. Because if time is money, then you are wasting a lot of money just layering and layering on color to try to achieve a certain look when you could just buy a higher quality paint and get that look right off the bat. People constantly write me saying they're following along to my tutorials and they're doing everything I'm doing, but they're getting different results, and they'll tell me what they're using, and I realize, okay, it's not anything you are actually doing, it's just the brands of paint you are choosing to use. So don't make that mistake, buy the good stuff. So for this round, Basics definitely won. Basics also left this nice little shine, and the other paints were completely matte when they were dry, so I really like that touch as well. So from favorites to least favorites, or my most recommended, I would definitely go with Golden Acrylic's Heavy Body or the Liquitex Heavy Body. They are both just as good, and I love them both the same, and they give you great results. Would 100% recommend. It just depends what you really have money for at the time. Next is Basic Paints. They actually have some of my favorite colors. My favorite color by them is Primary Blue. I literally use it in every single piece that I paint. The Primary Blue is not as opaque as this magenta. The black may not be as opaque either, but I still do really love Basics overall. And the last one would be Artist Loft. I am not in love with their colors, but they do have pigmented paint for the price. It's really not that bad, and you can always mix colors to make it perfect to your liking. Now, just because I don't recommend the Craftsmart, the folk art brands for my specific style of painting, that does not mean that they aren't good paints and they aren't usable. You can still use them for many other projects. I like to use Craftsmart paint on clothes specifically, and I also like testing out their paints in resin too. So there's many different ways that you can use paint, not just on a canvas. Space Cadets, that is it. If you liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. And if you're interested in following me along my art journey, you can find my work at Lanchen Designs on Instagram or Etsy. My voice just like cracked. Space Cadets, I'll see you next time.
Hello.